Hello everyone, this is CRH Films. Today I'll tell you about the 2023 movie Paradise. In the near future, people have the ability to sell their biological time, and debts are collected in years of life instead of property. The film starts with an advertisement for a special program by the company Aon. The corporation has found a way to transfer biological years of life between people with similar DNA. The company offers poor people the chance to sell their biological years for a decent reward. We are transported to a camp of illegal migrants. Manager Max suggests to a young man from a family of illegal migrants to sell 15 years of his life for €700,000. This money will help them escape the dreadful conditions they've been waiting in for visas for 20 years. To convince the young man, Max reveals that he once sold 5 years to pay for his education. This convinces the young man, and he agrees. Max walks through the refugee camp that has grown into a full-fledged city and heads to the metro. Inside the metro, he sees elderly people enjoying themselves with young peers, a side effect of the scientific breakthrough. The refugee camp stretches as far as the eye can see. An endless source of life years for the wealthy. In front of the office, Max sees protesters. People are unhappy with the time transfer program that allows the rich to live nearly forever, using the poor as expendable resources. Inside the building, an important ceremony is taking place. Max receives an award as the company's top manager. Thanks to him, the company gained 276 years in the last quarter. Afterwards, Sophie Tyson comes on stage. She is the owner of the company and the inventor of the life years transfer technology. She announces that besides 10,000 selected elites, the company will start providing its services for free to Nobel Prize laureates through a special fund. Meanwhile, in a clinic, young laureates are undergoing an adaptation course. Suddenly, a medical worker pulls out a gun and shoots a girl in the head. He eliminates everyone who receives someone else's time, sparing their relatives and the clinic staff. Afterward, the Avenger paints the Atom Group's logo on the wall. The Atom Group opposes the time transfer technology. Kaya, Sophie's bodyguard, reports on what happened. The company hired a new head of security for the investigation, a man named Novak who had previously worked 17 years in the police force. Meanwhile, Max and his wife Elena are planning their carefree future. Max mentions wanting to buy a house by the sea to raise their children, even though he hasn't finished paying off the mortgage for their current apartment. After a brief conversation, the couple starts working on conceiving a child. On the weekend, the couple goes to Elena's parents. Elena's father is not pleased with her husband's job at Aon. He's discontented with how the time transfer technology has turned poor people into expendable resources for the wealthy. However, Max disputes these statements. On the way home, the couple almost doesn't argue due to their conversation. But bigger troubles await them at home. A fire has completely destroyed their apartment. Max remains calm, confident that the insurance will cover all expenses. However, the fire investigators conclude that an open flame caused the fire, which is considered negligence rather than an insurance accident. The couple is left with only two options: either fully repay the mortgage or the bank will take 40 years of Elena's life, which she had pledged for the loan approval. Max wants to split the debt, but his recipient passed away a few days ago. The couple is in a desperate situation, not knowing what to do next. The situation worsens with the arrival of the police. The police detain Elena, suspecting she will attempt to flee the country. Upon arriving at work, Max asks Sophie Tyson for an advance of €2.5 million. She promises to help. Sophie attends a board meeting, where everyone is young and attractive unlike her. Greedy executives are more interested in profit than scientific research. On the day of forced debt collection, Max and his lawyer arrive at the company's clinic. However, they don't allow him to see his wife. Spotting the door to the service area ajar, Max runs in there in hopes of seeing his wife. But Kaya and the security catch the intruder and escort him to the waiting area. Meanwhile, Elena is being prepared for the procedure. After the time transfer, the couple moves into their new apartment in a poor district. It's the most they could afford. Elena can't sleep all night. She approaches the mirror. Changes are already visible, but this isn't the final result yet. In the morning, Max receives a message from work. He hopes it's help for his wife, but at the office, he learns it's just a promotion. Seeing Sophie in the parking lot, Max questions why she didn't help. By looking at her rejuvenated face, Max realizes that the 40 years from his wife have transferred to Sophie. In the evening, Elena sees the final consequences of the time transfer in the mirror. Returning home, Max sees his wife applying makeup in front of the mirror, attempting to forget those unfortunate events. Max tries to comfort his wife. She just wants to be alone, so she asks him to leave. Max drinks a beer on a bench, thinking about how to escape this suffocating situation. A little girl approaches him and offers pills that are anything but childlike. Max rudely dismisses the girl. Elena ends up in the hospital due to a miscarriage caused by the time transfer. Max takes his wife to her parents' place, and during that time, he devises a revenge plan. He observes the little girl closely and, based on her behavior, realizes that she has undergone a time transfer procedure, likely an illegal one. He asks for contacts to an underground clinic doctor. Once he obtains the necessary information, Max buys new documents and a gun with his last bit of money. Max starts monitoring Sophie while simultaneously listening to an impassioned speech by the leader of the Atom Group. Sophie arrives at a cemetery with her security detail. She leaves her guards at the entrance and walks in alone. Max understands that he might not get another chance. He enters the cemetery through an old forgotten passage. Near one of the graves, he finds Sophie. She appears even younger, causing Max to pause for a few seconds. Sophie calls for help and tries to flee, but a stun gun puts an end to her futile escape attempt. Max paints the Atom Group's symbol and drives away. He goes to his wife and tries to convince her to come with him. They drive to an abandoned auto repair shop on the outskirts of the city. There, he shows Elena a tied-up Sophie Tyson and proposes they go to Lithuania. There, Elena can undergo surgery and regain her lost 40 years. Meanwhile, Kaya and Novak start their investigation. Max manages to disguise himself while using forged documents. However, Novak eventually tracks down the criminal's location. While Elena and Max argue about the morality of returning the forcefully taken years, Kaya, Novak, and their team are heading toward them. The special forces cautiously enter the building after using flashbang grenades. However, they find nothing there. The kidnappers have fled, leaving behind a suspicious car. Kaya employs illegal surveillance methods, including hacking cameras and personal accounts. Novak questions the morality of such actions while showing his sympathy for Kaya. During the conversation, Novak learns that Kaya is much older than she looks. Sophie ensured that her faithful bodyguards would live as long as she did. Soon, the security team finds a photo with an aging Elena and her husband in the background. The location of the culprits is a ship headed for Lithuania. On the ship, Max holds a tied-up Sophie in a van. Everything seems to be going according to plan, but the police, waiting for the criminals at the harbor, were not part of their plans. Max spots a family and comes up with a plan. The police search every vehicle at the port. A man is behind the wheel of the van, while his wife is driving a car. Meanwhile, Max is hiding in the trunk with their daughter, brandishing a gun. Elena and Sophie hide in the van's bathroom compartment. One of the policemen asks to open the van, and then a sealed box with a bathtub. The man is visibly nervous. He says he's not used to being held at gunpoint, to the officer who has just approached. The policeman scolds the subordinate for being overly zealous, then allows the van to pass. A few miles later, Max releases the captives. He smashes their phones and shoots a tire, preventing them from contacting the police too quickly. During the next stop, the girl reveals her name is Mari. She's the younger daughter of Sophie Tyson. Her mother kept her existence hidden to avoid exactly these situations. Max doubts the girl, thinking it might be a trick. The pair continues on. They stop at one of the abandoned hotels to rest and wait for a message from the doctor about the meeting point. The girl insists her name is Mari. Elena is concerned. She believes that sending Mari back in time will be nearly impossible due to the DNA differences if she isn't truly Sophie Tyson. Max reassures his wife, as close relatives have very similar DNA. The girl asks to take a shower. Max reluctantly escorts her to the bathroom. Seizing the moment, Sophie hits Max on the head with the shower handle, takes the phone, and escapes. Max recovers and chases after her but fails to catch her. The girl disappears into the density of the night forest. She reaches a river, with another abandoned building on the opposite bank. She manages to contact Kaya but drops the phone right after. The river slowly but surely pulls her in. She's faced with a choice: either perish or scream to reveal her location to the nearby kidnappers. Back at the hotel, Elena takes the girl to the shower. She notices that Sophie doesn't have scars from the surgery. Max believes it's due to sudden rejuvenation. While the couple reminisces about their youth, Kaya, Novak, and their group pinpoint their location. With their mini-army, they're ready to confront the kidnappers. As Max and Elena are asleep, armed mercenaries from the Adam group awaken them. They're taken to the leader of the insurgents. She reveals that the girl isn't Sophie, but her younger daughter Maury. She explains that the fire in Max's apartment and the recipient's death weren't coincidental. It was Sophie's plan to gain years of life for Elena. Finding another donor with the specific DNA would be extremely challenging. The leader doesn't approve of returning the stolen years through Maury. She suggests Elena kill the girl, as she considers Maury's life less valuable. Elena points the gun at Maury but can't bring herself to pull the trigger. Aeon's special forces are closing in. The Adam group initiates another phase of their plan. They lead Max to the first floor. His task is to lure Sophie inside the building. A spy among the Aeon mercenaries informs the insurgents that the company owner is also present. When Kaya, Novak, and their group arrive, Max exits the building. He demands a conversation with Sophie and steps out of the armored car. Max states that all he wants is justice. If Sophie wants to see her daughter, she needs to go with him. The owner agrees. Just then, Kaya asks Max how he found out that Sophie is here as well. Max remains silent, and Kaya realizes it's a trap. At that moment, Adam's leader orders the secret agent to kill Sophie. It turns out to be Novak. He shoots at Sophie but is instantly met with the same deadly force from Kaya. Adam's fighters open fire to eliminate Sophie completely. However, amidst the hail of bullets, they manage to pull her out of the battle zone. A frightened Max returns to the building. He searches for his wife amidst the sounds of gunfire and explosions. Taking Elena and Maury, Max rushes to the car left in the garage. As Max struggles to start the engine, Maury points the gun at Elena and pulls the trigger, but it's not loaded. An enraged Elena strikes Maury until she loses consciousness. The couple heads to the meeting point set by the doctor. They have only a few hours left before the operation. Max starts to realize that the girl is innocent and taking her time is wrong. However, due to the pistol incident and her sense of being used, Elena plans to reclaim the lost time. An argument ensues. Elena retrieves a knife and orders Max to leave the car, threatening to slit her own throat. Max exits the car, and Elena drives to the rendezvous point. Trucks and medical personnel with all the necessary equipment arrive. In the morning, a weary Maury is picked up by a truck driver. Later, she's brought to an airstrip to reunite with her mother. Sophie survived, a bulletproof vest saved her. Kaya expresses her desire to no longer harm innocent people or set apartments on fire before leaving. The next day, the effects of the time transfer show on Maury's face. She wants to regain her youth, but her mother is reluctant to give her own time. Sophie promises to find another donor for her daughter, as she needs strength for her work. Sometime later, Max stands by the sea. Pregnant Elena waits by the shore, expecting her new husband. She turns around but only catches a glimpse of her ex-husband's back as he walks away into the distance. He gets into a car and, with accomplices, drives to the time transfer facility. Along the way, they put on masks bearing the symbol of the Adam group.